Isaac is a 29-year-old African American male who has had a recent experience with police brutality. He has a mental health diagnosis of panic disorder and ADHD, and medical conditions including Cushing's disease and asthma. Symptoms that Isaac is currently experiencing include repeated unwanted memories and flashbacks, nightmares, avoidance of thoughts and memories related to the event, loss of interest in activities, being easily startled, feeling detached, and feeling as though life is not worth living.
Hi, Isaac. My name is Sierra, and I'm a mental health clinician. Is it okay if we start the session now?
Sure.
Okay, so how are you doing? And what brings you in today?
I'm doing okay. About 2 months ago, I was biking around my neighborhood as a way of exercise and self-care when I was cut off by a police car and stopped. They asked me for my license and began to interrogate me as to why I was biking in this neighborhood. I didn't have my license at the time, and I told them I lived there but didn't have proof. I told them that my house was a couple blocks away and I could go get my ID. I went to go get back on my bike, and the officer pushed me from behind, making me fall with my bike. I cursed at the officer and yelled for help. That's when another officer maced me, and they put me under arrest for disorderly conduct. After a few hours at the station, my wife came with my license, and I was released on bail. But the officers won't drop the charges, and I will have to go to court in about a month to plead my case. Since then, I've been experiencing flashbacks, I've been avoiding biking and walking in my neighborhood, and I've been feeling on guard.
Mm. This sounds like a very, heavy experience that you had. Um, and what I'm hearing from what you had experienced is that you're having flashbacks, you're avoiding activities that you once enjoyed and valued, and you're feeling on guard, and it's all related to the police violence that you experienced. If it's okay with you, I want to conduct an assessment. It's called the PCL-5, and it's going to help us monitor these symptoms that you shared with me. Um, and it's also going to screen for post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is going to help in gaining a better understanding of the symptoms that you have and that you're experiencing, and then help us figure out how we can remedy them for you. Does this sound like something that you would be open to doing today?
Okay.
Okay. So I just handed you the assessment. And if you look at it, below is a list of problems that people sometimes have in response to a very stressful experience. So please read each problem carefully and then circle one of the numbers to the right to indicate how much you have been bothered by the problem in the past month. The stressful experience is currently bothering you the most is police brutality, the violence by police you endured. So in the past month, today is November 22nd. So since October 22nd, how much have you been bothered by repeated disturbing and unwanted memories of violence? All right, so thank you for filling out that assessment. I'm just gonna take a quick look over the results. Um, So, based on the answers from this assessment, you scored a 61 out of 80, which indicates probable PTSD. Um, Looking over your answers, I see that you scored extremely bothered for number 6 of avoiding memories, thoughts, or feelings related to the incident. Can you tell me more about this?
hmm I have been trying to avoid thoughts and memories about the event. I stay away from walking around or biking in my neighborhood because of what happened. Biking and walking was actually something that I did for self-care and brought down my anxiety, but I feel like I can't do this anymore as a coping skill because I'm scared.
Mm. It sounds like, the violence that you experienced by police, this event has taken away things that you previously enjoyed and has made you fearful of them. To help, I'm thinking that we slowly expose you to walking and biking in hopes that it will become a coping skill for you again. How does that sound?
I like that idea.
Okay. And then for number 9 on the assessment, you also answered extremely for having strong negative beliefs about yourself, other people, or the world. Can you explain this a little further for me about the beliefs that you've been experiencing?
I really think I am damaged goods and I will never be a good father or husband. I also feel like I'm a bad person for the things that I did as a child soldier. I don't believe the society will ever accept me.
Mm. So I can tell that this has really negatively impacted your thought process and has brought up some old feelings. So, what we can do to tackle this symptom is I can provide you some psychoeducation on the 5 steps of cognitive restructuring, kind of in order to process and rework some of these thoughts that you're experiencing. So, we're going to challenge these negative thoughts and then replace them. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then, I'm looking over your results, and for number 1, on the assessment, I see that you also answered having been extremely bothered by repeated disturbing and unwanted memories of the stressful event. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you've been experiencing?
I'm repeatedly experiencing extreme, disturbing, and unwanted memories and flashbacks about my previous childhood experience in Somalia and the police brutality. These flashbacks make me feel like it is happening all over again. I can feel it, smell it, and see it. After this happens, I have extreme stomach aches and my heart races, and I feel like I'm struggling to breathe. I just feel fearful and horrified.
Mm. So, what I'm hearing is that these flashbacks are having serious physical effects on you. It sounds very disorienting. Um, to combat your struggles with breathing, I can teach you how to restrain your breathing by technique where you're going to calculate, locate, communicate, breathe, and exhale. Um, so how does that sound?
Okay, I like that.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. And I also wanted to let you know that this assessment can also be used in our sessions in the future to kind of compare the rate of these symptoms from where they are now to where, they'll be in the future. And then also to tailor your treatment so that it will be more beneficial for you. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Isaac. My name's David. I'm a mental health counselor here at the agency, and I've heard that you've been struggling with some mental health challenges, and I just wanted to check in with you and see what's been up, what's been bothering you, because we're concerned about you and we want to support you as best we can.
Hi, David. It's nice to meet you. I appreciate your concern. I mean, I am having a pretty tough time as of late.
Mhm. Yeah, so you've been having a difficult time with your mental health.
Yeah, I've just been, I don't know, a lot of things are going on with me in my community, and I feel like I kind of feel like a target. It's just I've been, missing work sometimes. It's been a whole lot of things that I don't even know if I can get into, but it's just yeah, I'm not doing very well.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it's been really difficult for you. You're feeling targeted where you're living, and you've been having a hard time being at work and focusing. And what other sort of thoughts have been coming up for you lately?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't really been able to be like good enough father, good enough husband. It's
Hmm.
life has just been really tough, I feel like I haven't been able to provide the way that I have in the past. Like my family means the world to me, and sometimes I just feel worthless.
Mm. So you really feel like a failure. You feel like you're worthless to your family, and that you're not. you're not doing the best you can as a husband and father.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm doing what I can. I don't know if it's the best, but I don't think I'm capable of doing my best right now, just with everything
Mm,
that's going on. I don't know. I just sometimes I just don't see the point.
mm, okay. So you're saying you don't really see the point. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that?
I don't know. Sometimes I just think it'd be better if everything was just over.
Mm, mm,
It's just too hard right now.
okay. So you've been having these thoughts that you'd be better off dead.
I mean, I don't know if I would like go that far, but I guess sometimes, like I get like late at night, I just have certain thoughts. I'd just be better off. My family would be better off if, I just wasn't here.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever actually wished you were dead or wished you could go to sleep and not wake up?
I mean, I've thought about it, but I mean, I guess maybe I've thought about it before.
Okay.
It's not an easy thing to say though.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine it's really difficult to share something like that, but and I appreciate you being willing to tell me that you've been having those thoughts. And so you've been having these thoughts that maybe you'd be better off not living. And when do these thoughts sort of come up for you?
Yeah, I mean, just when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'm just plagued by them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in the daytime I can block it out. I see my kids. The day has to go on. I have to take care of them. And my wife relies on me, but when I can really think for myself and just, think about my life, that's what I think about.
Mm-hmm. So you find that you're able to push it away for most of the day, but when you're laying in your bed at night and trying to be with yourself, it's really hard to sit with yourself because of these thoughts that you'd be better off dead entirely. Hmm.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's right.
mhm, right, yeah, I'm sorry, that sounds really heavy to carry. Have you actually had any thoughts of killing yourself?
I mean, it's a little severe, I think. I don't know if I can really get that far. It's like, every time I kind of think more about it, I'm like, I could never, like my family really needs me.
Mm,
It's not something that I can picture happening.
okay. Yeah, so the thoughts are heavy that you'd rather not be alive, but they've never really escalated to actual thoughts of ending your life.
Yeah, it's just an impossibility. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good, but I could never leave my family like that.
Right. Yeah, I can tell how much you care about them and want to be there for them, and we want to support you and help you be there for them as well. And it sounds like it's been quite a burden for you to carry these thoughts, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, everything has been
yeah,
a burden as of late.
right. And Isaac, in the past at all, have you ever done anything, started to do anything, or prepared to do anything to end your life at any point?
No, I mean, no, nothing other than like the thoughts have kind of happened. I just can't. I can't I can't fathom doing anything like that.
Mm,
It's just I have too many people relying on me. That's all it comes back to. It's any kind
mm,
of plan. It's just never happened.
right. Yeah. You care a great deal about those you love, and you know that that's not actually what you want. And it sounds like it's been really painful to even have those passive thoughts of, oh, like what if I weren't here? What if I weren't alive anymore? And given that it's been so tough for you to carry that on your shoulders, I'm wondering if it might be helpful for us to sort of work on a plan to keep you safe, in case you're ever feeling like those thoughts are escalating to the point that you don't feel safe, that you might do something to prepare to end your life. How would you feel about creating a plan like that?
Yeah, I think that would probably be good for me because I mean things have been getting worse lately. That's why I'm here, you know. That's why
Mhm.
I've come to counseling. So, anything that would help me kind of drive these thoughts away, feel a little
Right.
secure.
Yeah. Have some security. And I just want to say, Isaac, it takes so much courage to be willing to share something as heavy as what you've just shared with me. It's no easy feat to say, "Hey, I've been feeling this way," and I'm honored that you're willing and comfortable to share those thoughts with me, and I'm happy to work on this plan with you to keep you safe.
That's Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It's really not been an easy thing to admit. I mean, it's not something that I can tell really anybody in my life because I don't want them to worry about me. That's the last thing I want to be a burden on the people that I love. So,
Hmm.
if I can get help some other way, you know.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like it's been really tough for you to share those thoughts with the people you love because you're worried about being a burden, as you say. Mhm. Yeah. So how about we sort of walk through some of the steps of what's called the safety plan. A safety plan is essentially it helps us prepare by looking at warning signs of the thoughts becoming severe, and it helps us think of strategies and tools and resources you can utilize when you are feeling, suicidal and you want to keep yourself safe. So, how would you feel about discussing some of the warning signs that you should use the safety plan in the first place? Can you tell me some of those signs that you might want to refer to the plan?
Sure. I can think about it. I
Hmm.
guess, I feel the worst when I'm by myself. So
Right.
I always feel, when I'm out in my community by myself, I feel pretty targeted. I don't know, people stare at me. It's, you know, I that's one thing. And then, when I'm at night when I'm thinking, like I told you, it's always when I'm by myself that everything gets worse.
Hmm. Okay, so when you're feeling like a target in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
and when you're at night alone thinking about your experiences and how isolated you feel, those are triggers for you.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really like the isolation, the
Mu-
loneliness.
mhm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of people especially struggle with those thoughts when they are alone. And yeah, great job identifying that warning sign, Isaac.
Thank you.
Um, so given that that's a major warning sign for you, what can you do on your own if you become suicidal again to help yourself not to act on those thoughts or urges? Are there any, for example, coping skills you can utilize, things you can do when no one else is around to sort of help you keep yourself safe and grounded?
Well, I mean, I guess I can, utilize some of the coping skills that, I've learned in counseling so far, like the breathing retraining and this CLCBE that other counselor taught me.
Hmm.
Those seem to be helpful, and just bringing down the anxiety levels. It makes me stop and think a little bit about, you know, what's really going on, what I'm really feeling. Um, Otherwise I guess I could probably wake up my wife if, I feel really, really bad and I really need to be around somebody.
Hmm. Right. So you feel like if you were feeling overwhelmed in the more moment on your own, you could use the breathing retraining or that particular coping skill that you were taught at the agency that you found helpful for your experiences. And you said that if things get too severe, you could always turn to your wife and say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling." Yeah, that makes sense. Great job identifying some coping skills you could utilize on your own. And also, I want to add that with the safety plan, if any more come to mind as you go home, like when I give you the safety plan and you want to add it to the safety plan, this is for you. This is totally for you to modify for your own needs. So, yes, great job, Isaac. Great job identifying coping strategies.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really it's kind of not an easy thing to think about on your own. It's been a little easier to, like talk about it out loud. Sometimes I just have a hard time, you know, thinking about it by myself, like making
Hmm.
so it's been helpful.
Yeah, it sounds like it's helpful to sort of think it through and gives you some security. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and so Isaac, if you were feeling really overwhelmed, I know you said you've been feeling targeted in your neighborhood and that you don't feel like you have a safe, sort of safe place to go, but can you think of any safe places at all that have people you can surround yourself with? And these don't have to be people you necessarily need to share your suicidal thoughts with, but just people you can sort of be around to keep yourselves safe. If there are any places you can think of that you could go.
Well, I mean, I used to not really have any place to go, but since I started coming to counseling, I was recommended this support group that's been really
Hmm.
helpful for me, and it has, it's a support group specifically for Black Americans that, are feeling racially targeted in their communities. So
Hmm.
it's it's been really helpful for me to go there and find a new community outside of, my direct community.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like it's been a great help to have that sort of feeling of that you're not alone in what you're experiencing. To have that support of knowing that there are other people that understand without that stigma of what it's like to be targeted for your race. Um, so I'm really glad that you have that support group to go to when you're feeling unsafe. Uh, and let's say, for example, the support group like wasn't available, it wasn't running that day. Is there any other place you think you could go just to sort of safely be around people? I know you mentioned your neighborhood wasn't safe. Maybe you could go to some place in another town or another neighborhood that you might feel more comfortable in.
I mean, yeah, there's this coffee shop that I like a few towns over that, sometimes I go to when I feel a little stressed out and I just want to take a take a break and relax, and people don't really look at me funny over there. So
Hmm.
it's a little, it's just nice to be able to go somewhere in public that I don't feel like people are staring at me.
Right. Yeah, to go somewhere where you feel like you're not being, targeted for your physical characteristics, and to still be around people so that you can keep yourself physically safe, so that you don't act in any way that might harm yourself. So yeah, great job identifying those places. The support group and the coffee shop sound like real tangible places you could go to when you're feeling overwhelmed with these thoughts. Um, and so, we've sort of discussed some of those aspects. What about family members who can offer help? I know you mentioned your wife.
Yeah, I mean, she's really the only one that's like there for me right now. I mean, the rest of my family they don't even live in this country, so it
Hmm.
it's hard, but she's supportive of me the best way that she can be. So, I really appreciate having her there, and she's kind of the one that I would go to.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you feel comfortable, you know, sharing that what your experience is with your wife, and that should be a real support for you.
Hmm.
Um, awesome. And can you think of some like professionals or agencies to contact for help in case you're feeling overwhelmed? I will also provide you with a list of local and national crisis resources, including 988, which is a 24/7 suicide hotline. Um, are there any other resources that you can think of that you might want to utilize?
Well, I mean, honestly, counseling has just been really helpful for me.
Hmm.
Being able to see a counselor every week and like talk about what I've been experiencing and learn how to handle it better. That's really been the best thing for me, you know.
Right.
It's,
Mhm.
I just out of everything that I've been doing so far, I feel like that's helped me the most.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so having the professional support here at the agency with your counselors have been super helpful for keeping you afloat. And in case you're not able to reach us, like I said, I'll provide you with those resources. And how does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, honestly, the more resources I have, it seems like the better I fare. So I'd like to have
Absolutely.
access to those things.
Yeah, definitely. We're happy to provide you with that. Lastly, I know you discussed that you wouldn't actually ever act on the thoughts, but let's say you wanted to act on the thoughts, like what in your house could potentially be used to end your life?
I mean, I I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about it, but if I were to if I were to have to think of something, I guess like, I take a few different medications for some
Hmm.
physical health problems. So
Hmm. Right.
those are pretty accessible, but I've not really thought about that.
Yeah, because it's never gotten to that point, and we're really glad that it's never gotten to that point. Um, But I'm wondering if it also might be helpful as a preventative measure to sort of make a plan for how you could keep those means unavailable in times that you're feeling, uh, having those suicidal thoughts come up again. What do you think you could do preventatively for that?
I mean, my wife has, she has like a safe for her important documents for work. And she, keeps
Mhm.
it around the house and, she knows the combination and I don't because it's, confidential stuff. So maybe she could store my medication away in her safe just you know, for safety.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, to keep it stowed away when you've taken your medication, and you won't need it for the rest of the night, and you're going to bed, and yeah, there's an extra preventative measure to keep you safe. And that's up to you. You can decide that with your wife if you feel like that would be helpful or necessary as a part of your safety plan. Um, yeah. So overall, great job, thinking of ways to protect your well-being, Isaac. And I can tell, how much you're trying to care for yourself and be there for your family. How do you feel about this safety plan overall?
Yeah, I mean this wasn't an easy thing to do for
Hmm.
sure. I mean, this took a lot out of me, but I think it's better to have it, than to not have it at all. And it seems like something that's easy to follow, something that pretty much coincides with my daily life. So, it's I think it's a good thing. I'm happy to have
Right.
it.
Mhm. Yeah, I can totally understand how difficult it is to walk through something so heavy and to think about something so heavy with such intent. And, you showed a lot of resilience by being able to work through this safety plan. And I'm glad you'll find it helpful in the future. I will definitely, submit a copy to your portal and print one out for you to keep. Where do you where do you think you could keep the safety plan to make it most accessible? Some people, for example, say, I'll take a picture of it and put it in my notes app and pin it, or I'll keep it right in the drawer, this particular drawer that I utilize all the time. What do you think would make the most sense for you for it to be most accessible when you're in time of crisis?
Well, since most of the time it happens at night, I think that maybe in my bedside drawer would be a good place to put it.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
don't have to, bother with it during the day and see it all the time when I don't want to, but when I need it, it'll be there,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Having it there in that drawer for when you're having those thoughts, particularly at night at your bedside. And yeah, it's just right there for you to utilize when you feel like you're in crisis. Okay. Well, excellent job overall, Isaac, and we're committed to, supporting you and keeping you safe and I know it's been super challenging for you to carry these thoughts and I want you to know this is a safe space where you're always, encouraged to share however you're feeling and however you're feeling is valid. And yeah, just overall great work.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your help.
Hello, my name is Andrea. I'm a mental health counselor. What's your name?
I'm Isaac.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Isaac. How are you and your family doing?
I've been better, but my wife and our baby are healthy and at home.
I'm glad to hear that your family is doing well, but I would like to hear more about what troubles you're experiencing.
So I've been having flashbacks that led me to feel like I'm having a heart attack and I have trouble breathing. I also have panic attacks that have led to me to have some asthma attacks as well.
That sounds difficult to handle. I can imagine it's impacting your well-being and your roles as a father and as a husband. I have a skill we can try that might help with those symptoms. I can explain how it works and then guide you through the technique. How does that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. So our body has a control system. It's called the autonomic nervous system, and it runs along our spine and expands throughout the body. It is made up of two separate systems. The first system is the sympathetic nervous system, and this part prepares our body to fight when it senses threat or danger. Similar to the gas pedal in a car, it revs our bodies up. The second system is the parasympathetic system, which does the opposite. It helps calm our bodies down. Similar to the brake pedal in a car, it slows us down, helping us to feel relaxed and think more clearly. We can activate both of these systems through our breath. So when we breathe in, we're activating the gas pedal, and when we breathe out, we're activating that brake pedal. To help you feel more relaxed and in control of your breathing, we want to focus on pressing that brake pedal by focusing on breathing out longer than you breathe in. Does that make sense?
That sounds simple enough.
Okay, great. I'll show you the technique first to give you an example, and then we can try it together. You'll place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Then you'll take a normal breath in, filling up your belly with air, and make sure you breathe in through your nose. The hand on your belly should move outward while the hand on your chest stays still. Then you're going to purse your lips together and blow out through your mouth, releasing that air in your belly, just like this. As I mentioned, breathing in excites your body, so you'll want to focus on the breath out to calm you down. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So get comfortable in a seated position, and we'll go through it a few times. So one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Breathe in, filling up your belly with air. How are you feeling after that exercise?
I feel a lot better. I feel good.
Okay. So now we can consider when you can use this technique. Do you think it would work if you do it in the morning after you wake up?
Yes, I can also do it before leaving the house, when I come back home and before bed.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Would setting a reminder on your phone be helpful?
Oh, I think it would be very helpful for me.
Okay. In our next session, we can talk about whether that technique works for you and whether that routine is helpful. If not, we can always practice the technique in session and we can modify the schedule to meet your needs.
That sounds like a plan.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing about it the next week.
Hi, Isaac. It's really nice to meet you. My name is Erin. I'm a counselor, and I'm kind of here to help you talk you through a coping strategy, if that's something that you'd like to do.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be helpful. I've been going through a lot, so it's good to have something I can use that's like tangible and uh and helps me feel less overwhelmed.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. I've seen from your case that, you've been experiencing a lot lately. Would you like to talk me through a little bit about what your experience has been like and what your symptoms have been like?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I've been having a lot of panic attacks and flashbacks related to one particular incident where I was targeted by the police in my neighborhood, and I was on my bike and they pushed me over and assaulted me, and now I have to go to court for it, even though it was very obviously a targeted act of racism. But anyways, yeah, I have these panic attacks and I have these flashbacks where I feel like I'm right there again experiencing, you know, that same event of being assaulted. And it's really hard for me to concentrate and feel connected to my surroundings, especially at work. I feel like I'm constantly zoning out or caught up in these really intense experiences. And I just feel like overall, like I'm not fully, present a lot of times.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly difficult. It's so you've been experiencing, panic symptoms, you've been experiencing flashbacks to this event, and you've had a lack of concentration that's been, impacting your work life. So this is really something that's been kind of impacting you in every single domain. This is something that's kind of overtaking your life at this current moment.
Yeah, I would say so. It really is overtaking my life in a lot of ways. And yeah, I think it would be good to have just, to know what to do because I don't really know what to do a lot of times. I mean, um, yeah, like I've learned some deep breathing, but it would be good to have other stuff that I can use because it just feels like, I'm in there and then my brain just stops working. I can't think through anything at work. I can't concentrate and I don't really know like, why that happens. It just feels like when I'm in a flashback or having a panic attack, there's no way I can do what I need to do or strategize or do anything clearly that involves thinking.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. And I also want you to know that, it seems like you don't know where this is coming from, but there
Hmm.
is an answer. And this is something that is completely normal. This happens to many people when they experience something like this, assault that you've mentioned. Uh, when you're in a panic response, there's something called, there's something called the autonomic nervous system, right? And this is made
Hmm.
up of two parts. This is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is kind of like your gas pedal. It's go time, right? So that means, your body goes into either fight or flight. right? And it
Mm.
suppresses, the activity in your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for that higher order thought, that concentration, that judgment, the things that you use to perform those tasks at work.
Mm.
So this part of your brain is kind of suppressed while that gas pedal is pressed and the sympathetic nervous system is on, and the parasympathetic nervous system is kind of like your brake. So when you press that brake, your body's able to calm down, you're able to think more clearly, and that's also called the rest and digest. So you're kind of able to relax.
Oh, okay. So it's like when I'm having a panic attack, the part of my brain that like does the thinking isn't even like on. Like because
Exactly.
because that gas, the sympathetic is so activated.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
that
exactly it.
that makes so much sense. I mean, like I was always wondering like why that happens. You would think that, oh, this is a very intense situation and I should be able to think through this because it's important, but clearly that's not how it works. Yeah. My brain just goes totally offline.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see that you're kind of, you have a smile on, you're a little lighter now. I can feel that lightness. How does it feel to kind of have an answer to that, that issue that you've had?
It feels like validating because the fact that there's a scientific reason for it, it makes it feel like it's not something that I have no control over in the sense that like there's something I can do for it if I can learn to sort of get that parasympathetic on and control it. And it also, yeah, it makes me feel less alone because there's like an experience that a lot of people have had um with having their nervous system activated like that. Yeah, yeah. It feels good that there's like science to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that understanding, it can make all the difference. And you mentioned that there's something that you'd like to do to, try to combat this. I actually have, a coping skill, a technique that I can teach you today that I think would be very effective for you. That's
Yeah,
be okay if I introduce that?
yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, it's been hard and like I said, I'm open to anything you guys can give me to make it easier because I want to be there for my family and I don't want this stuff to dominate my life anymore. So yeah, I'm happy to work on whatever skill it is. What's the skill?
Yeah, okay. So this skill is called the CLCBE, and that's an acronym. It stands for calculate, locate, communicate, breathe, exhale. So this
Mm,
is a mindfulness-based coping strategy, which kind of means, it brings awareness to what's going on within your brain and within your body. So it, locates those feelings that you're having so you can, better combat them. And this is a strategy that's particularly helpful for managing RSEs or racially stressful encounters.
mm.
So, this is something that seems to be, very relevant to you specifically. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I would definitely call it a racially stressful encounter for sure. I mean, I was targeted because of the color of my skin, and I'm glad, it's cool that there's a technique that's specifically for that.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, we're working, we want to work with every facet of this issue so we can combat it the best we possibly can.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do today is kind of walk you through the steps of this, this skill, and then maybe we can do a little demonstration, and I can also try to walk you through that demonstration.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
All right, awesome. So we'll get into the first step then. So that's calculate. And this is for this calculate step, when a racially stressful encounter occurs, uh, you would basically evaluate how much stress you're feeling, the intensity of the stress. So you'd rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the
Mm.
lowest and 10 being the highest. Yeah, that's you basically just, you know, the intensity of the stress, you would rate it on a scale. And then
Mhm.
the next step is the locate step. So you would then identify where this stress is occurring in your body. So this could look like a lot of things. It could look like, a racing heart, elevated breathing, like
Mhm.
butterflies in your stomach. And this basically just allows you to be mindful of how these feelings connect to, your bodily response. Is this, are you understanding this so far? Is there anything?
Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Like you rate like how intense it is, and then I mean I can very clearly say that for me it's a lot of like racing heart, tightness in my chest. Yeah, it's very in my body, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, all right. And then, moving forward, this is the communicate step is next, and it's basically talking to yourself about what feelings and what physical responses that you're noticing come up during the encounter. And this is, particularly to identify when you're in that kind of, sympathetic nervous system mode and your
Mhm.
brain is not, functioning as well as it should be. And this can be, you can identify this internally or externally, like you can talk out loud, or you can just say it to yourself in your head. Both are effective methods, because this is
Mhm.
something, you'd want to be able to practice to the fullest extent. If you need to practice this in public, you can do so, and you don't need to feel like people are watching you, this is
Mhm.
something that you can do anytime. And then was that clear for you? Were you able to understand?
Yeah, I like that it's subtle and that, you're not making a big thing that everyone is going to look at you for. I can kind of do it by myself and with myself and not have all those eyes on me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also if you want to do this with somebody else that you really trust, and you mentioned that your wife is
Mhm.
a big support for you. This is something that you could do out loud with her as well if you'd like to.
Yeah, I think she would definitely want to help me out with something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe if you'd like at some point in the future, we could even, bring her in, and I could help teach her this strategy as well, if that
Yeah,
would be helpful.
yeah.
All right, and then for the last two steps, the breathing and the exhaling step. So this is basically just using mindful breathing in order to move the body away from that survival mode, the sympathetic nervous system, and back into the relaxed state, the parasympathetic nervous system. You press that brake. So this step means inhaling for 6 counts and then a drawn out exhale that lasts longer than the inhale. I would recommend maybe 8 counts.
Mhm.
So, and this long exhale kind of allows you to go from the gas to the brake.
Okay, so that exhale is more of that sympathetic, so that's why it's longer, I'm guessing.
Right, absolutely.
Parasympathetic, sorry. Yeah,
Yes, the parasympathetic. So
yeah,
you press that brake for longer than you would press the gas.
yeah.
Right? And that kind of allows your body to relax, and it allows your prefrontal cortex to come back online. So, those concentration problems can be helped, and your judgment will come back, and your brain will basically be functioning at its higher level again. Right. So that's basically the whole strategy. Were you able to understand all of that?
Yeah, there are like quite, a bit of steps, but I think if I practice it, it would become easier and more second nature.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand that this is a pretty, long strategy. And I will, once we finish up today, I will email you this strategy, and we could even print it out here if you'd like. So I can give you a physical copy so you could practice it a little easier.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could email it to me and give me a physical copy too, so I have it, in multiple places and can sort of practice it. Yeah,
All right, perfect. And now that we've kind of walked through it, is this something that you would like to practice now?
yeah, yeah, I'll give it a go.
right, absolutely. So, in order to, kind of make this practice a little more effective, if you are comfortable, you recalling, a racially stressful encounter for this, practice, it would, be a more effective practice for you, so you can kind of identify the real feelings that occur. So if you're comfortable with doing that, please feel free to do so. And, you just let me know if you're uncomfortable and we can, suspend practice.
I'll definitely give it a try. It's hard to think about, but I'll I'll try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. And if at any time you would like to stop, you can absolutely stop and we can, we can discuss it. We can go through some other strategies. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. So if you feel comfortable now, you can kind of recall this event. Just take a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine it well. I can feel, their hands on my back as they push me over, and I can like it's like flashes, but I can feel like my body hit the ground and how scared I was. Yeah, I
Yeah,
recall it pretty well.
this sounds, incredibly stressful, of course. And,
Mhm.
if you were to identify the level of stress that you were feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your stress?
I mean, right now I'm not having a panic attack, but I put it at like, so probably like a 7, I'd say. Yeah,
Right. So,
just thinking
you're
about it.
feeling very heightened.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could, locate where the stress is physically for you in your body, what would this stress look like?
I mean, I feel like a tightness like in my chest area, kind of like you can see like it's hard for me to even breathe like deeply, and I also feel like this almost like fiery sensation in my gut and a lot of tension, like yeah, like a lot of tension in my shoulders too. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I want to commend you for being able to, locate that stress and then also communicate out loud where that stress is because, if you're able to identify it, you're
Mhm.
better able to combat it.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So this
Thank you.
last step, this will help you feel, push that brake so you can
Mhm.
feel a little more relaxed. This is the breathe and exhale step. So I'd like you to, and I'll breathe with you. Breathe in for 6 counts and breathe out for 8. All right, we'll do this one more time. In for 6 counts and out for 8. If you'd like to do a few breaths on your own, you can do so.
I'll do one more.
All right. How are you feeling now?
Definitely more relaxed. I mean, even like my shoulders don't feel as tense. The tightness is kind of like it's lingering, but it's not as strong at all. I feel like I'm able to talk to you now. I felt like before I was almost losing the ability to talk to you about what was happening. So yeah, no, I definitely can see it like in action, everything you were talking about with the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's really difficult to, even do these strategies because you can't really picture what's happening. You're not really sure what they're even doing internally. So,
Mhm.
this is something that you can really, you can almost picture in your head what's going on internally.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. This is you did such a wonderful job. I know that this was a really difficult thing to do, and it's so not easy to recall, these real events that have happened to you and, the things that you find, that give you this stress every single day. So I really commend you for being able to, recall this and practice this and, this is it's I'm hoping that this will be able to help you out when it comes time when you're having these symptoms.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, I could definitely see myself using this anything to make the symptoms more manageable. And I really like how this is unique to my experience because it makes me feel like my team is listening to me and wants to support me. And yeah, this was great. I will definitely practice this with my wife for sure.
And even, if you'd like to set up a specific time that, you could practice this, that so that, you'll be able to kind of know what you're doing when the moment comes because, like we talked about, your prefrontal cortex isn't always on,
Hmm.
when these symptoms occur. So practicing this skill is really what's going to allow you to utilize it when a stressful situation occurs.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like I could definitely practice it like on my own and with my wife and at home. And then like over time, I could see myself using it at work too. If it's something I've practiced and I'm used to doing, then it'll occur to me more easily that I should probably do that skill right now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's try to set up a specific time in your day that, it would be best for you to kind of try to practice this
Mm-hmm.
skill.
I
You
mhm. I
identify?
think
Yeah.
mhm. I think I could use it before I go to bed because I feel like that's when a lot of like I have panic attacks a lot and flashbacks a lot, as like the days fizzle away and I have fewer distractions for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be, it would be great if I'll print out that instruction sheet so that you can kind of keep it in a place where you'll readily have it when you're ready to practice it.
Mhm.
Would that be good?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for, being so receptive and, it seems like you're really taking charge of your treatment here. So, and we're happy to help you every step of the way.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you guys are helping. Throughout our sessions, Isaac, I've heard you say some things about yourself that sound really heavy to carry and maybe don't accurately reflect all of your strengths. Like you've talked about how you feel worthless, how you feel like you're not showing up in the way that you're supposed to. And I'm wondering if it might be helpful for us to take some of these thoughts and think about them in a way that more accurately reflect the situation and your strengths and your resilience in life.
Yeah, I mean, I'd maybe like to try that because I've just, it feels like I can't move forward sometimes with all of these thoughts that I have. It's just been too much lately. So I'd like to try anything
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah, that makes sense to have to carry all of those thoughts and the emotions they bring up for us. And it's especially tough when we're grappling with them and we don't really know how to make sense of what the thoughts mean. So cognitive restructuring is basically this process where we take some situation that's been upsetting to you, we identify the feelings that come up related to that situation, we pick one specific thought related to the situation, and then we kind of engage in this process of weighing the evidence for this thought, like deciding if the thought is actually reflecting reality. And then we can reframe that thought in a way that's helpful for you, in a way that feels empowering. Um, and based on this new thought, we can also add in some steps and an action plan to help you feel empowered towards taking steps to better your mental health.
Yeah, I think that I would like to try that.
Hmm. Okay. So can you think of a particular situation lately that's been particularly distressing for you, Isaac?
I mean, I care about my family so much, so something that's really been haunting me is just that, like, I feel like I could never be an adequate father or an adequate husband just because of everything that I've been through and all of these traumas I've experienced. I just feel like I've never been a good enough dad.
Mm,
I've been not able to show up at work lately. I've been having so much trouble getting things done.
yeah.
It's just been awful.
Yeah, so it sounds like you feel like you've never shown up as a good husband or father to your family. And you've also recognized that these mental health challenges have made it particularly hard to show up in a way that would be satisfying, in a way that would make you feel like a good father or husband. Yeah, that makes sense. And how does this situation of not showing up at work to the best of your ability and not showing up for your family in a way that you like, how does that make you feel?
It's just it just makes me feel awful. It's like I can't fulfill the things that I'm supposed to do. This is the stuff I'm supposed to be good at.
Mm,
This is the life that I've wanted to build for so long. It's like shameful that I just can't get over all of this. I feel so inadequate.
yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it really makes you feel inadequate and ashamed of your roles. Yeah, that makes sense, and that sounds very heavy to carry.
It
And
is.
is there a particular thought, a specific thought that comes up for you when you think about this situation?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'll never be a good enough dad or a husband. I'll never be good enough for them.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So the thought is that I'll never be a good father or husband. Mhm. And so now what we're going to do is we're kind of going to break it down and think about evidence for the thought and evidence against this thought. So we'll start with evidence for what evidence is there that you'll never be a good father or husband?
Well, I mean, when we were talking about it a little bit earlier, I just haven't been able to focus lately. I
Hmm.
haven't been able to get the things done that I'm supposed to do, particularly at work. I mean, I provide for my family. I bought a house for my family, but ever since my son was born, I haven't been able to sleep. I haven't been able to focus. I feel like I've missed like 20 days of work so far.
Mm.
And that's like I need to provide for them, you know?
Right. Yeah. So you haven't been able to focus and you've missed 20 days of work because of the symptoms you've been experiencing.
Hmm.
Mhm. Now, if we have to sort of gently challenge that thought and think of evidence to the contrary, that you are a good father and are a good husband, what sort of evidence would you say to answer that thought?
I mean, that's harder, but
Mhm. That
I
makes
guess I could
sense.
try to think of, things that my wife says. Like she's a big supporter of mine. She says that, just the fact that I'm in treatment at all is doing something, which I guess I believe that that's true,
Hmm.
and I did buy the house, just I worked so hard to try to give my family the life that I've always wanted to have. And I'm trying to set them up for success.
Hmm.
That's that's still there.
Yeah. So you're getting treatment. It's clear that you want to get well. You bought your family a house, and it sounds like you're also still showing up for work and trying to give your family that life that you really want to desperately give them.
I mean, I am trying. I care about them so much. That's really all that I want.
Hmm. Yeah, and it also sounds like your wife has recognized your efforts too, even though it has been tough, and it sounds like you're being quite harsh on yourself, which is understandable based on that shame you've been carrying. Um, but overall, it sounds like outside of missing work for those 20 days and struggling with the symptoms, there's a lot of evidence that you actually are showing up as a good father or husband, um, even though it has been challenging. So, given that we have this evidence that you've come up with that you are you have been a good father and husband and that you're trying to be a good father and husband. What's the sort of new thought you could come up with that takes into account what you're experiencing and also your strengths?
I mean, I guess, despite all of these difficulties that I've been facing because of, my symptoms and, my lack of ability to, get these daily tasks done, I still care so much and I really just want what's best for my family. I'm able to try, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And how does it feel to share that new thought? What feelings come up for you?
I mean, it feels a lot better. It feels like I'm able to fulfill, my role in some way.
Hmm.
I feel a little more adequate.
More adequate, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm also sensing that there's a bit of pride there in what you're sharing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to admit something like that, especially when
Hmm.
things have been so hard lately, but I'm proud of the life that I've tried to create
Right.
for my family. It seems like they're doing well despite the fact that I'm not, and
Hmm.
that will always take precedent.
Yeah, yeah, that means something to you. Mhm. And, based on this new thought, it might be helpful to still come up with an action plan. An action plan is basically some behaviors you could utilize, or some resources you could utilize to uh, help with your mental health journey, to help combat that thought of, I will never be a good father or husband, to help you feel empowered to move forward. So, if you could think of a few actions you could take that would help you feel better, what would those be?
Well, you know, some of the things that I've learned here have really stuck with me. Like the coping skills that you've taught me with
Hmm.
the breathing work and, the CLCBE. That's been very helpful for me so far. And, some things that were recommended, like the support group, I've checked that out recently and I enjoyed participating. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about some of the things that I'm learning here.
Hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you've learned some new coping skills and you've found some new support in that support group. And so those actions, continuing to sustain those, sound like a critical part of this plan moving forward. Mhm. How does that plan sound to you?
But it it sounds good. I think that these will be some steps forward, which I haven't been able to take recently.
Okay. And I just want to check in and ask, like, how was this process of sort of reframing the thought altogether?
I mean, it was kind of difficult, but it felt good to actually think of myself in like a compassionate way.
Mhm.
I haven't been able to give myself much grace lately, and it feels empowering to kind of reframe that thought.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. It's difficult and it feels empowering to engage in the process. Yeah. Well, thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.